Charles Duhigg, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thanks for having me.
I have to say that your piece raises a really uncomfortable question, which is, Seattle was so much in the news at the beginning of this outbreak. I mean, we were seeing pictures on the news every day from this one nursing facility right outside of Seattle. But now, these months later, New York is the epicenter of this. There are hundreds of thousands of confirmed COVID cases in New York. There are tens of thousands. I mean, how many deaths so far? In the 20,000 range, I believe. And Seattle and Washington State on the whole, Seattle in particular, has a fraction of that. What happened? What did you find out?
Well, what we found is that Seattle put its public health officials, its scientists, in front of the cameras. And they relied on a communications playbook that the CDC has polished for over 50 years about how to talk to the public to convince them to stay home. In New York, the politicians took the lead, and the messages that they sent were much more muddied and much more confusing, particularly initially. And the weird thing about a pandemic is that what you do in those first early days can matter disproportionately, because once the virus is out of the gate, it begins expanding exponentially. And that's the mistake that New York made. It was only 4 or 5 days behind Seattle, but those 4 or 5 days made all the difference.
Tell me a little bit more about this playbook, the CDC playbook that you say Seattle followed, that New York didn't.
So the CDC since the 1950s has had a division known as the Epidemic Intelligence Service. And what they do is they take a new